Okay, these are some review problems we were doing on the normal distribution. And remember, this is the key concept, and we use the empirical rule. And if we have a normal distribution of data, it's going to fall in these percentages as far as my distance from the mean in terms of standard deviation. So within one standard deviation to the right or to the left, we have 34% of our data in each case. So together, plus or minus one standard deviation, we've got 68%, then another 13.5%, and another 3.35%, and then all the way out here to the 0.15%. So we've worked these out a lot in class, so this is the main idea from our notes that we're going to be applying to some of these problems, these review problems I gave you for the normal distribution. So if we take a look at one of our problems over here, number 1, this is just a review problems, and it says normal distribution has a mean of 140 and a standard deviation of 20, and then they ask any questions. We're going to ask any questions about range of scores and values. So what we have to do first of all is you just draw a line, put our mean in, and then go 3 standard deviations to the right and to the left to get our range of scores. It's very simple. So what I would do first is I would just draw a straight line, put my 140 in the middle, which is my mean. I make that a little bit bigger, and then if I go 1, 2, 3 standard deviations to the right, or 1, 2, 3 standard deviations to the left, I'm going to have between these minus 3 standard deviations and plus 99.7% of my data. And remember, our standard deviation was given in the problem to be 20. So we just add 20. So that's going to be 160. Add 20. 180. Add 20. 200. And then subtract 20, I get 120. Subtract 20, I get 100. Subtract 20, I get 80. And this is going to be 97% of my data is going to be in this range between 99.7% between 80 and 200. And our percentages we know go pretty much like this. This is 34%, 34%. This is about 13.5%. This was 2.35%. And the rest was just the 0.15%. If you add these up, you get 50%. And the same on the left, 13.5%. And this is all by what we call the empirical rule and how this data is usually distributed. This is 2.35%. And finally, another 0.15% over here. So once you have that all divvied up, then you can answer any questions about percentages and probabilities, etc. A little bit longer one there for your mean. Okay? So the first question over here, number 1, it says, what range of values represents the middle 95% of the data? Well, this is 34, that's going to be 68, and another 27 makes 95%. So 95% of the data is right here. And this is 68 in between. And all the way out here. So within 2 standard deviations plus or right is 95% of the data. So the range of values would be between 100 and 180. So we would say that our x is less than or equal to 180, or between, I guess I should say. And 100. So between 100 and 180, I have 95% of my data. Number 2, what percent of data will be more than 160? Well, look over here. Here's 160. So I just look to the right of that. So 160 is over here. So what percentage is to the right of 160? Well, if I add this, this is 13.5%, and these two add it to be 2.5%. I can think of this as 2.5% if I add both of these. So 13 plus 2.5 is 16%. So 16% is to the right of 180. That's all. So once you have these percentages filled in, it's very simple. And then what range of values represents a lower 2.5%? Well, again, same idea over here. This is 2.35 and 0.15, so this is the lower 2.5%. Over here, that's going to be x is less than 100. So this would be the range of values. So we would say over here, x is less than 100. And those range of values would be less than 2.5%. Okay, so just look at your percentages. 0.15%, 2.35%, 13.5%, 34%, 34%, 13.5%, 2.35, and 0.15. And these you should know by memory by now because we've done a lot of these problems. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Again, draw your line, put your mean in, and then your standard deviations. Go 3 to the right, 3 to the left, put your percentages in, get that all done, and then the rest is pretty easy.